You heard it right. They're back. After 35 years off the screen and off the grid, the stars of a different world are jumping back onto the scene with a tour. But where are they headed, and when is it happening? Who will be there with us, and who won't be able to join the nostalgia tour? And most importantly, why is this happening now? I'm so glad you asked. I have it all right here for you. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay caught up on Black Hollywood stories like this one. You don't want to miss it. They decided to create a spin-off show from The Cosby Show that would exclusively feature Black youths in a historically Black university. We would see their lives and experiences and discuss more controversially set topics with them than what was initially being discussed on The Cosby Show. A fresh 1980s look from the perspective of Black youth of the political and social scenes of the 1980s. But that was 35 years ago now, and so much has changed. Things that were normal then may be a bit odd to youths now, and things that were once controversial have been normalized. Conversations about race and class relations, sexual assault, or the Equal Rights Amendment have changed in context and how they are perceived. For example, Kim's pregnancy scare in Season 2 led to a discussion about women's reproductive rights, and it was dealt with maturely and timelessly. There were episodes discussing concepts like consent, how you're perceived because of the class you come from, and how that affects the opportunities that you get in life. I'm realizing that a lot of these conversations have not changed in 35 years, and it's making my point seem ridiculous. The same topics covered in some of the most memorable episodes of the show are conversations that America is having right now, and plenty of people are trying to change the initial stance that society had on them. During this fraught time of rampant division, a tour of the show, A Different World, can give us a glimpse of what aspects of our social conversations are. Cyclical tornadoes we will ride till the end of time, and which ones we have made progress on. A Different World is not the kind of show one can sit back and relax for. Whether you like it or not, after loosening you up with a good few laughs, they're going to yank your brain into the equation somehow. The HBCU claims to have 3 motivations for this endeavor: a historical reunion, igniting change and raising scholarships. They want to get back onto the campuses that inspired the show and have a reunion with the culture, and how much it has changed and has been affected by changes in thought over the years. This is a group of actors who were pushing the boundary of conversation on television at the time. They were discussing things that many shows for young adults at the time were too afraid to go into depth about. They jumped right in at the opportunity, giving the youth of the time a show that stretched their thinking a bit more than other shows did. A Different World wasn't a show that was afraid to discuss uncomfortable things. In fact, they faced that discomfort and used it as a jumping point for beautiful plot and character development throughout the show. To this cast, the reunion is about celebrating the significance of that achievement. They also want to encourage students to choose an HBCU to continue their academic careers in. A Different World is a show that is deeply based on the culture of HBCUs and draws inspiration from the conversations of students at these institutions. They plan to leverage the show to create greater publicity about the culture at these universities and encourage people to become a part of that academic community if they feel like they would be a cultural fit and enjoy their time there. Basically, go to one of those universities and you can live in a different world every day. The funds from the tour will be used to fund scholarships for said students. The scholarships will be awarded to students who perform really well upon application and students who require financial assistance to be able to attend an HBCU. This is the perfect time for a tour, but unfortunately some stars were on board with the idea and some just weren't. The cast members who will be on tour are Daryl M. Bell, Charnel Brown, Jasmine Guy, Kadeem Hardison, Dawn Lewis, Cree Summer, Glynn Turman, and Sinbad. Titular characters who were at the center of the plot in the first season have disappeared and are not joining their fellow stars on the tour. Lisa Bonet, and Marissa Tomei are the only two people in the main cast of the show who will not be participating in the 35-year reunion tour run. Bonnet left the show in the first season, but a lot of people still remember the character she played fondly, as though she was present for the entire 6-season run. However, considering that her career has taken a completely different trajectory and that she has committed to different priorities than acting at this time, she was not available to join in on the show. Bonnet has always spoken fondly about the show, and she loved being on it. She met her best friend Marissa Tomei on the cast, and she learned a lot and discussed a lot of issues that were important to her through the show. Plenty of sources agree that she would have been delighted to be a part of the show and just couldn't make it. Speaking of Marissa, her career has shot upward since the show, and she's been getting a lot of high-budget films like playing Spider-Man's mom. For her career, it may not have been the best financial choice to join in on the reunion. She is still close with many cast members. However, considering the length of the tour and the financial circumstances it is under, it really isn't something one can do for the money. She would be losing money from other opportunities while working there. The smarter choice was to let bygones be bygones. It's possible that a tour was planned much earlier. Even though this is fashionably late to the political conversations we're having now, studios don't usually run a show, end it, and then say, "Well, see you guys in 35 years. It was planned much sooner and had trouble because of interpersonal and financial conflicts. In recent years, when acquiring the funds to get the show back on its feet and plan a tour, that wasn't possible because the pandemic had put a stop to all public events that a tour would require. Now that these things are out of the way and the budget is right, the stars who can afford such a commitment have jumped onto the opportunity to ride the nostalgia wagon along with us." True to their roots within the show, the cast of A Different World isn't going on just any silly old tour. They're going on a tour to 10 black colleges in America. These colleges include Clark Atlanta University, Morehouse College, Spelman College, Howard University, and Tuskegee University. The full list has not been released yet, but the cities they will be visiting are Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Montgomery, and Alabama. If you're a real and true enough fan, you can look up historically black colleges in these areas and you will probably land on one they will be visiting. The tour begins on February 29th in Atlanta. It will run weekly through all of the city locations that are still to be announced. What's planned for the show? Fun with the cast, some stage acting and performances, and talks as thought-provoking as the ones once hosted on the show. Some concerns about timing. After 35 years, do you really think that these cast members will be able to play the characters the same way? Most of the actors are in their late 50s to early 60s. Some people have concerns that the campaign is not particularly well planned. Since the show ended 35 years ago, most college-age students would have never seen it in the entirety of their human life. A lot of them won't even know what the show is or what it's about. Most viewers of the show were the same age as the actors and the characters. This means the majority of people who would recognize it and be intrigued are around the ages of the actors with jobs and responsibilities of their own. Not really the kind looking to get into college. They may be hoping to get the parents to encourage their children who would be at that age now to enroll at those colleges. Nonetheless, there is something to be said about the disconnect that may exist between the audience that is most likely being marketed to and the audience that would actually benefit from the show going on tour. Most people are expecting the same cultural experience from the tour as they would have gotten from the show 35 years ago. For some reason, they are keeping the details on how the show will be run pretty hush-hush. But knowing the talents that are to take the stage for the show, there is no doubt that it will be an entertaining and fun event for all ages. Despite the passing of time, what college-age students are talking about and interested in has not changed much in the last 3 decades. A lot of them may end up being interested in the insight that this show can bring them from a time before them. Click on this next video to stay caught up on everything going on in Black Hollywood. If you blink, you'll miss it, but I'll keep you posted as always. What do you think about the tour? Is this the right time to be doing it? Or have they passed their window of opportunity?